All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, just, just before I begin, first of all, happy Sunday, happy weekend. I hope your weekend was a good one. Just double checking the audio. As per usual, we're working with new equipment. So I think I heard the music. I didn't bother checking though. And let's see, we got chat, comments. Good. We'll go ahead and take this banner off. My second chances banner, which I mixed and released last April. So it's almost been a year since I've released music. That has to change very soon, but we'll see how that goes. Man, this computer is so sensitive. All right, music was clear too. Audio sounds good. Awesome. Let's see. We're gonna work with the camera now. And then we're gonna talk about art. It's gonna be fun. I have a lot of good things to talk about, and I did start with a question, but let's get to the video. I think first, 1 second, just checking something. There we go. Okay, so hopefully that works. I feel like there's a lot of headroom. Just try. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, that's probably better. So I added my light over there, and it's not cold light. It's a little orange, but I'm just gonna roll with it. See how that goes. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about art and content, and we'll start with welcoming the chat first. We've got Brian Gilmartin, so actually what I started with was my pinned comment, which was, I'll just go ahead and post it here. Art or content, what's the difference? And so if you guys had any ideas, of course, we'll talk about it. But I think Brian Gilmartin has an idea. You have something?
You're mirrored.
I am mirrored.
Told you.
Really? But it looks okay. I'm mirrored. Okay. Okay, you were right. My husband's always right. Sorry, guys. Let me fix my settings here. Okay, so just let me know if that's okay. Or because see, here's the thing. It's opposite on StreamYard. I can't see my camera on my phone. So I see the opposite of what is true on StreamYard. So if you guys want to clear up. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. You're mirrored. I was right, said my husband. The mirror master strikes again. Okay, so this is good, right? Can I have some confirmation that this is good? It looks wrong on my end, but I trust the audience first. Does it look good? Oh, you wanted proof? That's not right.
No.
That's not right. No, that's not. I don't think that's right. Guys, give me a vote. That doesn't look right.
I don't know.
No, I'm going to mirror it again. You guys tell me otherwise, and then we'll just... Oh, there's still a mirror. Okay. Big Al says there's still a mirror. Is it because this phone isn't?
Might be the settings here.
Yeah. Okay. Prof is going to fix my phone settings as... See, during his stream, I fixed his audio settings. Now during my stream, he's fixing my phone settings. That's interesting. Okay. So it's a camera thing. Oh, that looks better. That looks better. See? Okay. Now that looks great. Everyone looks great.
Prof Cameo.
Prof Cameo. Is that better, guys? Okay. All right. Final confirmation. That was fun. We did that under 10 minutes plus 4 minutes of music. So that's good. All right. You know what I'm very happy with, though? I'm not seeing freezing. We're trying a new thing, and well, now I'm freezing. I see myself freezing. I think I jinxed it. All right. Big Al says, the couple that streams together stays together. Yeah, it's true. Okay. All right. Well, now we're going to get back to business. I think all is well and good because no one's confirming, except I think Al confirmed. Anyway, let's start with Brian Gilmartin's comment. Oh, well, actually, we'll just start with welcoming the chat. We've got Brian Gilmartin. We've got Big Al Presents Our Friend. We've got Nathaniel. We've got Ace. Welcome. Ace, you emailed me on my sound engraving email probably a couple weeks back, and I haven't really been infrequent with my email, so my apologies. I need to get back to your video. So sorry. I think ever since the year started, I've picked up so many students, and I'm frequenting a work email, like a teacher email, more than my sound engraving email. So that's inexcusable. I apologize. Amy L is with us. And Stunning and Brave Megatron, also with us. And Spidey rules. Thanks for coming. And I so far see that. But maybe people are driving or walking or something. But anyway, let's talk about art and content. It's not really an art versus content, uh, because actually this stream, I'm not placing one above the other. Why? Because I think they are two very different things. So we'll get to the chat with Brian's comment first. But if you guys have any ideas before I start, what's the difference between art and content? Because there is a difference, and I think it's really worth mentioning because there's a cultural, I wouldn't say phenomenon, I wouldn't say trend, but well, I wanted to talk about this on my stream because of a video that I had seen in my feed, so we'll get to that. But we'll just start off with Brian's um, comment, and you say the difference: art is meant to inspire and evoke emotion. Content is just meant to be consumed for its own sake, and that definitely is one distinction. Art has a very, not just a specific purpose in our culture and in our society, but it also should be received differently than content, and we'll talk about that. Awesome. Thanks. Big Al presents wishing me a good stream. I hope so. Because I'm looking at the comments down here, and I just got to keep practicing looking at the camera up here. But yeah, everything is going on smoothly. Good. Ace says, greetings, Madame Essie. And no one's a scumbag here. Everyone's great. So, Amy L, everyone's great. Okay. Megatron momentarily, for the moment said, it's opposite day. It's fine. Yeah. That's funny. Well, it would honestly, like, it's not like I view the stream, but it would bother me too, just knowing that it's just not the right way the whole time. All right. Amy L says art is always content, but content isn't always art. I think that's a pretty interesting way of saying it. I think it's pretty insightful. We're going to be talking about that, where art is meant to be received and absorbed and observed very differently than content. Content, I mean, we won't go into the semantics of it, but content is used as a very specific vocabulary today for a very specific thing. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Megatron says, just got started on a Tifa Lockhart sketch. Cool. Now I'm working on drawing another hot chick. Well, that's great. Yeah, she's definitely good looking. I think she was voted, how they have prettiest or sexiest video game characters or something. I think 1 year she was number 1 or something, which makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Oh, scum dog. Oh, not scumbag. I misread that. I apologize. All right. And I think I see a Dega Outlaw. Yeah, good to see you. All right. So, yeah, let me just grab a quick drink of water and talk about sit up straight. I'm trying to, I've been having a bad back, getting old, try to stay healthy as you get older because, back issues. I don't have back issues, but if I don't stay up straight in this chair and while I'm composing and stuff like that, this is composing, typing on the keyboard. No, it's not. Anyway, that's beside the point. Let's get into talking about art and content. So I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but it was a video that came into my feed yesterday, and it was about this artist. His name is Venus Theory. He has a very interesting channel. He's not in character. I think he actually legitimately is emo, but that's just who he is. If you were ever a liberal arts major, you had at least one emo friend. Didn't matter what department, what subject, you hung out with at least one emo friend. And this guy, Venus Theory, is such a person. And I don't mean that disparagingly. His electronic music is pretty good. He talks about producing soundscapes. I think he probably sells demos and soundscapes and drum loops. I think he does, if I have that correct, but I could be mistaken. But anyway, he's a composer of electronic music. I more listen to his videos that I think are pretty artistically done. They're video essays of art and art production and definitely making music and sound design and all of that. But he really stresses on cultural issues that a lot of composers and musicians face, especially as independent creators. And that is what he calls, I think he gave it a couple terms. He called it the Spotification. So Spotify, the Spotification of music, how the platform has really kind of churned up pretty much like the platform we see with, YouTube, that all the streaming feed and all of what you see and all of what you absorb and consume is put in a machine, a system, an algorithm, and then you're just given the same, like any other suggestion, you're given a similar suggestion if you've not already heard the artist and stuff like that. And it can get into this I would say dangerous commodity where you're hearing the same music because Spotify is like, oh, you like this music, well then you'll like this music. And I'm pretty diverse when it comes to my electronic music. There are some artists out there who differ from others, and I like them pretty much proportionally the same. There are some albums that I'll just listen to over and over again. Some tracks I'll listen to over and over again. But there's a sameness that has happened with a lot of people. Spotify is trying to play in a mechanical way. It's trying to be the curator of your interests. And so it feeds on your go-to kind of consumerism about how to listen to music. And then it also really strongly encourages people to just be put on playlists rather than just kind of selling or promoting your own single track and album. Now, I don't really listen to Spotify anymore. I go to Bandcamp, and if it's an album I like, I really just I'll buy it. If it's like I need to buy this album and I have the funds, got paid or something, I'll buy the album. I'll just have it. And I'd like to actually have a physical collection anyway. Just as Professor Geek was talking about, curating your interests, curating what you believe is important to keep as your physical media. And there are some very few. I'm pretty selective with my electronic music, but there are a few out there that I would really like as physical media someday. So Venus Theory, that's kind of his take, his channel. He talks about, the cultural implications and ramifications of constant this, inundation of consumerism in the music world. Because he's an independent artist, he's a creative, and he speaks, he kind of bemoans for his own place in the music industry because it is quite suffocating and limited. But he also he does it to talk to to have that discussion with other artists. I don't see him very active in his comment section, but I haven't seen many videos of his to make that absolute judgment. But his video essays are artistically done. So yesterday, a video came, and I think it's recent. I think it's like a week old or whatever. And he had spent, I think, last summer on the road. He produced a beautiful album. I need to get it actually. I forgot what it was called, but basically it was an album just generated. He composed based on his time. I think he spent a month just traveling on the road with maybe his wife or a friend or something like that, and his dog. And they just saw the most dramatic American landscapes. And I think maybe Canada or Mexico. It was another country. But they were just on the road, just taking beautiful cinematic shots. And he composed a video, not music, but he actually put together a video where it had wonderful cinematography, beautiful background music. But he was complaining in his video, his thesis, if you will, his main theme was, is my video art? Now, I thought it was artistically done, and I thought it was wonderfully done. And so that piece of content that he made for YouTube in and of itself could be produced, marketed, and sold separately, could work as like I think it's like a 20-minute very small, documentary, very short documentary, or you could call it a video essay. It's a cinematic essay of some kind. And I thought it was really well done. Now, at the end of it, he didn't call it art. He also so he didn't claim it to be art, but uh, he he also what am I trying to say? He didn't say either. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm my streaming brain on the go right now, but you know what I mean. So he didn't answer his own question. He kind of left it to the listener. But the theme of it was he had such gripes with the quantification. I think that's another word either he used or another artist may have used, where he wants to put so much artistic effort in his videos for his channel, but with vanity metrics, with viewership, with people not really caring because they go to YouTube as to get content, he was feeling drained. He was feeling emotionally drained to put so much of his own artistic experience traveling across the states and then having it not be received as a work of art. For me, I think again it was really well done, and I on its own it could be seen as a piece of art. It was wonderfully done. The problem is, and he among a slew of artists, where they faced or what they faced is they're trying to. I'm not saying Venus Theory himself, but artists in trying to garner an audience and trying to promote their craft, they're trying to also be creative and artistic with their content that they're advertising. It's, it could have been an organic thing, it could have been just something evolving over time, but most people, maybe some artists, I listen to a lot of videos, they would say, well, I just want to make music, I love making music. Oh, okay, I could see that possibly I can go viral, and or at least get a good handful of people watching and listening and promoting my stuff. But then to get more views, you have to cater to the system. And what a lot of artists have found over the years is they're not producing art as much as they're producing content because they want the views, they want the viewership, they want listeners to buy their albums, they want people to purchase an oil canvas or a digital drawing or something like that. But so they're marketing it, but the marketing and the output, to satisfy the algorithm, if you will, that's coming first. That's taking precedence over making art. And so there's this from all these videos I had started listening to and all these artists, there was this overwhelming sense of resignation. Like they feel personally defeated. And I was thinking about it, and I sort of came on to this my own conclusion, just being on YouTube for forever. Well, not forever, for 4 years, 5 years. I think I started my first video fall of 2018. I think that's what it was. Yeah, just around 2019. So, oh my goodness, like I've been on YouTube for about 5 years now. That's hard to think about. And I think it was definitely the last year, maybe 2 years. We were concentrating on the wedding. The wedding was the most important thing of last year to take care of and have fun with and stuff like that. So a lot of creativity was, pushed aside. Now that Prof and I are married, of course, we have our work, we have our family to take care of, but also we have a little bit more time now to focus on our craft. And kind of in that window, like it was between the wedding and kind of Christmas season, I was like, well, I'll keep, now that I have more time, I don't have my retail job, I'll make more content on YouTube. But what was happening was, one, I just wasn't getting the views, the effort, the viewership, I should say, wasn't worth the effort or the work, because I love working hard, but it was like, all this time I'm spending for a couple hundred views, I could be composing. And so I really started seeing, okay, you know what? No matter how few views my music gets or my science fiction writing gets or something, like I have to put that out. And so it was an organic process for me. It was like, this is, making art is more important than making content. Now, don't get me wrong. This time streaming, it's like my favorite time of the week. Like I stream, say hi to you guys, and then I have a date with my prof. We watch Stargate. As of now, we're watching Stargate and stuff. It's my favorite time of the week. Don't get me wrong. I love composing. I love writing. I love teaching music. But this is an activity I look forward to all the time. And so that is the point of my stream is artists, if they're marketing their art and if they're using a platform like YouTube to do that, they can fall into this trap saying, well, let me make content in order to market my art. Because they're creative, naturally they want it to be artistically done in some way. I mean, I make sure my audio for my videos, whatever I'm doing, is as good. Even if the video isn't that great, I'm like, okay, as long as audio sounds fine. That's the first thing. So there's always going to be an element of creativity if it's an artist making content, for something like YouTube. But making a video, like a video essay, even just commentary, that just plain commentary. If you go to any videos, YouTubers you like, they're pretty creative with their commentary. So that in and of itself is, I wouldn't call it an artistic process, but it is a highly creative process. It takes a lot of creativity to be unique with your own words, your own personality, and then maybe add something that's distinctly you. So with all that in mind, the content creation process is a highly creative process. It really takes up so much time and energy. And then by the time you're ready to like compose a piece of music or design a sound for piece of cinema or whatever, you're just like, oh, I think I don't think I have the creative gumption to do that anymore. So that was kind of I had a resolution to do so many videos this year for my YouTube. And then like in the middle of January, I'm like, you know what? No, I've got to release music first. I've got to publish. I need to publish science fiction and stuff like that. I need to write. I need to continue creating, even if YouTube is, set at the back burner. So my whole point of this, before I get into the chat, was a lot of artists didn't realize that it was kind of this trap that they, kind of laying down the train tracks as the train is coming and not realizing, why they're so tired, why they're burning out, and why they're depressed. The whole theme, and we'll talk about it when I go to the chat, or the whole idea, I should say, is that artists need to make art simply because they need to. Even if you get 2 people liking your content or art, not content, even if you have like 3 people who love your book or your painting or your illustration or something, and it's not the 3,000 people who would love your controversial take on something, it still needs to be done. Like it doesn't matter the numbers. Now, if you had a lot of numbers for your, viewing your art, oh, that's all the better. But the whole point of making art is because it's important to make art. It's important to, it's a benefit to you. It's an emotional and psychological benefit. It's a spiritual benefit, and it has to be done. You have to make that art. Content, on the other hand, is not distinctly an artist's endeavor. Anyone with a phone camera and a computer and the internet can make content, and content has its place. It's important. Like, for instance, my recent SuperCollider video is not getting a lot of views, but I had to make the video because I was running into some audio trouble that I never really could figure out what the deal was for many years. And then I'm like, that's the answer. And I'm like, I can't keep this to myself. If someone out there in SuperCollider is struggling with the same thing, I got to help them. Maybe they'll happen upon 4 years from now this SuperCollider video, and they're like, thank you, this is exactly what I needed. I had to make that regardless of how popular it was going to be, and it took time. It took a whole evening, but it was worth it. Like it was beneficial to me to make that educational video. My most viewed videos are my Logic Pro demos and also a little bit of SuperCollider. Like people get really interested when I'm working with something like granular synthesis with ambient tones. They want to hear the sounds. Um, and some of the educational ones, between Logic Pro and SuperCollider is uh, yeah, the most viewed. They call it the evergreen content. So basically, what people do with evergreen content is it's mostly an educational video, and it can be applied no matter how old the video is. So my Logic Pro, one of my Logic, a few of my Logic Pro videos have over 20,000 views. And that's because it's a problem that people still have while working in Logic. And that was an old version of Logic too. So that's but it's helpful. And so content is important, especially in the way of education. I still feel like I'm not sitting up straight. There, how's that? Okay. So that's the first thing. So content has its place. Content has its function in something like, with a platform like YouTube, and especially education. I'll turn to violin instruction videos on just how to better explain how to hold the bow, for instance, or how to work with your vibrato or something like that. So that kind of stuff is always something to go to. Where people would fall into the trap of content is really working on videos and just chugging along that hamster wheel with stuff that is trending, stuff that is unfortunately ephemeral. So if you just chase trends, if you just chase the current day controversy, then that's that is only going to last for like a week. It's only going to get views for like it's going to have a week's life, maybe 2 weeks worth worth of life. It's not going to be evergreen because it's going to be old news. It's kind of like the news cycle of the mainstream media, just feeding you different stories at every turn, not letting the story breathe, not letting things take their place, not letting revelations, new things of evidence and stuff like that. Uh, it doesn't matter. Like even if there's a turn of events, you got to get that story out there like within the first 2 hours, and then have your take on it. Then seeing how the story progresses in a week, if it even gets that long of attention. So that's where people would fall into the trap of content creation and especially artists, facing burnout because they're like, I'm just, laying down the tracks, hoping the train's far behind me. And oh no, the train's coming. You gotta lay down those tracks and stuff like that. So that's the first thing. So the content can be artistically done, but to produce content, it's got to be important to you. Or I'm saying this to the artist who wants to continue with the platform YouTube. It has to be meaningful to you regardless of how many views it's going to get. Like there's got to be a purpose to the video. For me, it's educational. If people want to learn about SuperCollider or Logic Pro, they can turn to those videos. I used to work on when I first started YouTube. I actually wanted to make it more of like a documentation of my progression in music, because I was really interested in some artists, and I'm like, oh, I wish they did YouTube videos on how they did their music. And I'm like, well, I'll do that. And it kind of molded into something else, and that's fine. A lot of people were just not interested in my works in progress, and that's cool. I learned and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'll be more educational about it. Just here's how I do it in Logic Pro, even if I'm not showcasing my music and stuff like that. So that's that. One sec, guys. I will be right back. I have to check something. Okay. So that's the first thing. To really draw on this distinction between art and content. So content has its place, and art has its place. Now, I would say, what is the one distinction I would make personally between art and content? Art is something you return to. Art is something to recall, to review, to see again, to experience again. And even if you watch a film, a very masterfully done film, and that's the only time in your life you watch it, but you recall it, you think about it, you turn your attention back to this art piece, back to this story, back to an illustration that just took your breath away or something like that. That's, I would say, a distinction because art has its own function in society. Art is, as Brian was saying, is meant to inspire. Now, commentary and content can inspire, but content that the word content as we use today, current times, 2024, is really something you never go back to. Even if you had the most amazing, informative podcast, you don't really archive it in your mind. Let's be honest about that. That maybe there's an educational podcast that is timeless. But how often, even with really good videos, do we go back to those videos? In fact, I'll even tell you, I didn't even mean for this to happen, but I was listening to an artist's take on content, and I was making breakfast, and I'm like, I think I heard this video before. Yeah, I heard this video before. I've seen his video before. It's like a year old or whatever, and I was like, I think I saw this like 8 months ago, and I was about to click away. I'm like, no, I'll listen to the video again. It's important. He has some important things to say. But my first reaction was, well, I've seen this already. I don't need to see it again. It's like, no, watch it again. You know. So that's the thing is content is really meant to just kind of process and then move on to the next thing. You know, with the exception of something like an educational thing that like there are some educational videos I go back time and time again just because I need that gold nugget of information. So anyway, before I ramble on and on, it's about 37 minutes or so. Let's get to the chat and see what you guys have to say. Not much, but thanks for hanging out. Dances with Trees. Welcome. I used to watch Venus Theory. He makes synth pass. Oh, he does make synth path. If I could say synth patches, he does make sample packs. Okay, yeah, that does sound familiar because his use of sound is pretty nice. That's cool. All right. Nathaniel says, I don't know. Does it count if they dress emo but don't exhibit the typical behavior of emo people? I mean, like in the case with Venus Theory, he kind of draws on that I wouldn't call it caricature, but he describes himself as like the typical emo kid complaining about stuff. That might be a totally character thing. Like that might not even be him in real life, but I don't know. And I'm not saying that if it is true that he is emo, it's bad. But so I don't know if you're talking about Venus Theory in particular. Back in the 90s, people dressed emo because they were emo. So if it's a style now where people are just bubbly and happy, but also dressing emo, then yeah, growing up in the 90s and then being a liberal arts student, I came across a lot of emo people, but they were reasonable. They're nothing that different. I don't know. At least in my experience. All right. Guys talking about Mario Brothers, the movie. Shouldn't even be called Mario Brothers. Nah, I won't say that. All right. Hi, Andreas. Good to see you. Amy L points out that following the algorithm is dangerous. Even Google doesn't seem to know what it's doing. Yeah, yeah, I mean, there's so much information out there. By the way, am I talking too loudly? I see my signal. I'm actually gonna one sec. Let me pull this down a little bit. All right. I pulled it down just a tiny bit, but I saw, yeah. I don't want to, yeah, I'm going to pull it down again. I don't want to shout into the mic. But anyway, where was I? Something about Amy's comment about, yeah, following the algorithm is dangerous. Okay, so what is the algorithm now? Or what does the algorithm favor now? It favors the celebrity like Mr. Beast, who has a team of people. Like when people want to, for instance, make a supplemental income or even a living off of YouTube, they're forced to follow trends. And they're and a lot of people who claim to be YouTube experts, they'll say, "Hey, you have to treat it like a business," meaning you have to hire a managerial team, you have to hire an editor team, you have to hire um, maybe HR. Like it's like, no, I personally don't need YouTube to be my business. I just it's gonna look like this. Like you guys, you see me in my little music room here. That's what it's gonna look like probably for a lot of years. If I keep doing YouTube and I have no intention of stopping, it's gonna look like this. This is my music. This is my music room. And this is our house, and nothing's changing about that. So, but the other thing too is I try to make content, if you will. I basically do videos I would otherwise watch, meaning I like the just very simple camera in a room, microphone, talking to you like this. Those are my favorite videos to watch. I do appreciate highly creative videos, but I don't need them myself. I don't really watch them myself. I like hearing people talk. You know, the way I'm talking to you, that's how I listen to other people. And it's been my favorite so far. And it is a pastime. When I listen to people like just talking to a camera like this, it's a pastime. I'm doing dishes, I'm eating dinner, you know, I'm cooking a meal or whatever. So it's not a completely educational experience. It's not an artistic experience. I'm not going to the museum. But that's just how it is. Even, you know, I'm almost at 2,800 subscribers. Even if I get up to 10K, 20K, which I don't expect that to happen, but even so, like this wouldn't change. This will always stay the same. All right. Actually, I think I skipped some. Spotty Rules is talking to Andreas, but he mentions I was talking about Spotify and how its algorithm has you listen to too much of the same type of music. It's similar to streaming, the streaming discussion from yesterday. I think you're talking about Professor Geek stream. Yeah, I think I will tell you this, guys, and I didn't even mean this to happen, but there's this. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but have you? I'm just curious. Say it in the comments below. Have you experienced lately in the last year or so experienced a type of boredom with YouTube? Like, do you feel like you're like, I like this person, but I don't have to watch their stuff? And there were different reasons why I stopped following YouTube channels, but sometimes I stopped following not because they did anything different. I was the one that changed. I was genuinely losing interest in the topic. That happened about a year or so ago. So once in a while, I'll tune into an old channel I used to follow, but I'm like, I don't have to. And it was nothing against them. They didn't do anything controversial. They didn't do anything that would change my mind ethically speaking or morally speaking. They did the same stuff, but I was actually quite bored. Like even if any of you guys stopped watching my streams just because I'm like, oh, not that interested anymore. That's a natural thing, you know. Um, but my whole point with that is like I started being very selective of what I was watching on YouTube. And even more, I'm trying to branch out. I'm trying to follow topics that I wouldn't think to follow. Um, you know, I was like, wow, I really haven't learned about visual art, like artists in the visual medium. I need to learn more about art history. So in the last couple of days, I started following this channel called Great Art Explained. Wonderfully done videos, highly educational, perfect for a dinner, for cooking and eating and stuff. And like it actually took a little bit of extra muscle, a little bit of extra discipline for my brain to kind of cue in on, oh, you're wanting to see something different. Same is true with audiobooks. I'm trying to listen to different audiobooks, different, readers, different, whether fiction. It's mostly been fiction, but it also could be nonfiction. So you kind of have to you have to like pull this, you know, have your mind be a little bit more elastic and kind of stretch your mind, stretch your brain, like the physical, muscle that is your brain, the throbbing brain, and tell yourself, do something a little different, diversify your content consumption. Like and I'm serious when I say that, because if you don't, you're just finding yourself in the same echo chamber. And so I've been like diversifying my attention, or is that how you would put it? Like putting my attention to different little things too. And it helps. It actually frees up my mind a little bit more, helps me think and take a step back and hear what different people are saying, people I wouldn't have otherwise listened to. Kind of like how Prof says, consume stories responsibly. I think like definitely me, but I think we can all consume YouTube responsibly, you know? So, Megatron says, I really don't worry about my channel's growth either. My main focus during my live streams is to make art and grow. Good. Because as my art grows, then eventually the channel and audience will too. And that's wonderful to say. And that's wonderful that you're doing that, because what would happen if, let's say, you were thinking the reverse, like, oh, I have to grow my channel to grow my audience. Well, what happens, I'm speaking from experience, you lose time. You put all your time, like easy, even a commentary video could take like 15 minutes to record. For me, for audio, it takes a good couple hours to edit and then render it and then post it with a thumbnail. You're looking at an easy 3 to 4 hours. Now that's okay to do if you decide to do that. Like if you go with that acceptance, like, okay, that's my Thursday night. That's my Thursday night coming home from work. I accept that. Every week, I accept that. But for me, I was thinking, man, I should have worked on my piece of music. I need to finish this piece of music, the structural backbone of this piece of music. But I spent tonight working on my editing, and then I'm too tired to write, So the channel's growth, I think, is going to happen. I will say it's going to happen very slowly. Channel growth is going to happen very slowly. But it's the community as well. Like it really is just like, oh, talking with you guys. Like the fact that you guys are here with me Sunday. You don't have to be. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe taking a walk, cleaning the house, whatever. But the fact that you chose to tune in and listen, I mean, I don't take that for granted. Sometimes that's why I always hope I make sense, because it's like you guys like to choose to listen to what I have to say. It's a responsibility. You also say, Megatron, that the most important thing is getting good at what you do. Exactly right. Exactly right. Especially when the art is unique to you. Like I said, anyone with a device can make content, even if it takes some skills, some new skills to make content. But not everyone can compose music. Not everyone can illustrate, Not everyone can sculpt or do woodwork, So kind of home in, and that's my goal. That's my endeavor. I'm not saying you guys do that, but is to home in on that extra time you have. If you're not teaching, if you're not working, if you're not with family presently, what are you doing? And either consume art or produce art. Like as an artist, I think that's like the most sound advice I could give. The best art is usually timeless, Brian says. You remember a good work of art like you just saw it yesterday, whether it's a TV show, a video game, or a book or a music album. Absolutely. I mean, I can think of a music album right now that I haven't listened to in months, but I like it, Uh, Exactly. Exactly. Doesn't matter the kind of art. Um, doesn't matter the art piece, but something you can recall. Even just thinking about it as a mode of inspiration and memory, it's like that was a good story. Like now I will come back to this book a lot, but I had such a great first experience with the story Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. And I probably will read that book once every few years because I love it so much. I love the story. But even if I don't, let's say I don't read it for another 10 years for different reasons, like someone can mention it and then I'm like, that's a great story. Yeah, that's a great story. Andrea says, art is made with purpose and substance. Content is made to just pump out more art, in quotes, no matter if it has substance or not. Yeah, and I think I'm personally okay with a piece of content not having the effort, even the creative effort. Like if someone just wanted to say something real fast and they didn't put a lot of energy in it, I think that mode of expression is totally fine. It's totally warranted. But art is distinct. Make art repeatable. I don't mean replicate what you're doing. I don't mean duplicate a piece of music or a drawing or something, or constantly. Um, I don't mean take a character you're drawing and then do all sorts of things with that character nonstop without any break or turning into something else. That's not what I mean by make art repeatable. I mean, again, calling to attention, like recalling that art piece, like make art first that you would go back to and enjoy, but then with having the hopes that another person would. Like, I love that story and I know I'm going to read it again. Like that story, my physical copy, I'm purging my bookshelves. I'm curating my physical media. But this book that this person wrote, I have to keep because I do plan on reading it again. So make art repeatable. Content is not made to be repeated. It's just not. And if it is, it's more because it's the samey commentary that you turn to. And I hope people do draw that distinction, especially artists. Like, no, I gotta make take this for example. You guys already know this because we're talking about this, but let's say a filmmaker, uh, perfect for YouTube, right? I'm gonna make a film and I'm putting it on YouTube because it's a platform for videos. This is perfect for me. This is perfect for my niche. But YouTube inherently isn't built to receive an art piece like that. Like it's not built to see, YouTube maybe it might have the film uploaded and stuff, but you're not meant to view that film like you would in a theater. Even if you like paid $2 to see a 15-minute piece of film in a theater, the theater is meant to kind of house you in it and home you in and have complete focus on that film. YouTube is built like its algorithm is, and its emphasis on short videos is saying, no, 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 you're gonna watch this and then you're gonna watch something else because I want you to be on my website as long as possible. But the filmmaker wants you to watch that 15-minute documentary or whatever, and then pause it after it's done and then dwell on it. That's better for a movie experience, like on your TV, like with no internet, you know? And I think a lot of artists might not see that yet. I think it's coming though, where they're acknowledging this. One second, I'm gonna grab a swig of water real quick. And checking again, something else. Hopefully the volume is much better too. New comments, good. All right. I think because I'm looking down, I feel hunched, but if I just stay looking at the camera, it's good. All right. So before I get back to chat, I just want to say I'm not dissing content at all. Content has its purpose. I make content, for instance. I want to be educational about my content. It's when people start blending the two where they, especially artists, kind of feel defeated for it. So Amy L says, I actually thought about this some months ago. We don't go back to old content, not because we don't want to, but because there's no way to find anything. You know what's really sad? For the longest time, I never liked videos, you know? My reason for that was the videos I did like, I always went back to. And when I started dating Professor Geek with his book studies, it was such a struggle. It was like a battle for me to like his videos, not because I didn't want to support him, but because as soon as I started liking so many videos, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to scroll all the way down to the videos I always go back to. And they're not like, so they archive your liked videos, but they don't. I kind of wish there was like a really comprehensive compartmentalization of it. Like, okay, those like videos, Professor Geek book studies, you know, these videos, your uplifting trance music, you know. I mean, I guess you can find a way to do that, but it's not intuitive. It's not like you build, like, for instance, like the last few months, I really started organizing all my playlists. I need to actually organize my live commentary playlists because it's like so many videos. It's like over 50 videos from like 4 years or whatever. And it's hard for people to find, you know? It's like, I don't know. But yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Now, I do have a lot of liked videos where I'm like, I will need this information like every 4 months. So I'll refer back to those videos, but in the search, you know, on the YouTube search, I'll say music tech help guy drums rhythm because it will pinpoint a very specific thing that I need for that information. Let's see. Samuel Proctor, if I haven't welcomed you, welcome. This is a quote. There are two kinds of metal in this yard. There's scrap and art. You got to eat one of them. Eat the scrap. The thing you have in your mouth is art. I have no idea who is saying this. Amy L says, but welcome, Samuel. It's good to see you. Amy L says, we need to keep impeccable notes to even have a chance, to have a real chance finding things. We need to index the content. No one does that. Well, yeah, and actually, my prof is definitely with his first podcast episode. He's going to have more coming, but it was about curating. I think curating is a really important thing. Like, now I'm not a hoarder, by the way. Like, if I can, I will try to be as Spartan as I can. But now that I'm in a family, that has to be compromised somehow. Not in a bad way, but I just have to let things go. Some things are just going to be more than I want, and that's just the fact. And I'm, you know, that's just adjusting to a new family life. But we all hoard stuff on YouTube. Just like, I don't know how many liked videos I have. I have probably over 1,000 liked videos now. And I'm like, what are these even for? Like, I want an archived selection of videos to go back to, but YouTube doesn't have that feature. And to be honest, it's probably built that way on purpose. Like you're not made to see your videos again. Like you're made to see new videos. We want you to see new videos. It's still the same person you like. I'm like, yeah, but they're not saying something as relative as the one I liked, the video I liked, But it's the same channel. You subscribe to the same channel. Don't you love all their videos? I'm like, I like 1 or 2 out of 3 of their videos. No, you must like all of them. I mean, even with my own channel, like I talk about art on my live streams, and I had art commentary for a little bit, but I had like 3 or 4 different types of audience members, people who just came to my channel only for Logic Pro, came to my channel only for SuperCollider, and then people here who come to my channel only for my live discussions, So that is true. That is what it has to be. Sam Muley, welcome. Good to see you. And so Samueli says, Google suppresses so many sites and information. They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, like I don't want YouTube. I love you. Google, you're great. But I don't want a server or a browser curating for me. And that's the thing, is you have to think independently. You have to diversify your, what you're consuming. And I hate to use diversify because it's kind of used in business or marketing and stuff like that. But you really do have to be active. You have to be proactive with what you're giving attention to. Or if you don't, you're going to feed the machine, and that's probably not ideal. I think about artists on YouTube who just like they make their main income on YouTube, and they complain. I've heard artists complain, I don't have enough time for my art. I've been so busy on YouTube. And it's like, but how many years do you have left? Like even a relatively young person, like someone in their 40s or 50s, like I haven't written it for a long time because I've been so busy on YouTube. It's like, well, I mean, again, if you describe yourself as a YouTuber, then that's what you accept. But some artists are like, no, I'm doing YouTube for my art. It's like, well, what's taking precedence? I won't be overly redundant except for this one time, but composing music comes first before making a video. So even if you don't see a video come out within the week, it's because I needed to compose. Yeah. Spidey Rules says, funny thing about Google's algorithm is that it affected its new AI called Gemini. Didn't even know it. Well, did I know it? I just don't. While I have my opinions about AI art, I hardly look up the new stuff. Like I don't even know what's called what. But you say if you tell Gemini to show really? If you tell Gemini to show happy white people, it'll refuse to show you, but if you pick a different race of people, it'll show you without hesitation. Oh, I find that funny. But the thing is, people know what that all looks like and sounds like. The light is starting to bother me, even the orange light, the warm orange light. I wonder, I can't really see my camera that well, so hopefully the orange light isn't too blaring on your side. Brian says, I've stopped watching certain YouTube channels mainly because I feel like I've said my piece and can't contribute anymore. That's been my experience. When I came to the realization, like nothing I say will add to the discourse, like nothing I say will contribute, as you say. I think that's a really, we have this need, this inherent human need as human beings, we need to contribute somehow in some way to your city, to your church, to even your workforce, with your job. Depending, it does depend on your job. Sometimes people will take advantage of you. I've experienced that too. And then you don't want to contribute after that. But we have this inherent need to help, to add worth to something. And as soon as I found out, like, nothing I'm saying is going to make a difference, you stop putting your attention to that. And it's not a narcissistic thing. People say, "Well, you're just putting yourself on a pedestal and thinking your opinions will matter greatly." It's like, no, it's just a matter of energy. It's like I'll put in, like, it'll take me 2 minutes to make a comment on someone's YouTube channel, and then it's like, well, if they don't engage or if no one else engages, it's like, well, then, and then I've done the bad thing and drop a comment on a video of highly disagreeable people. That's not a good thing either. You don't want trolls either. Um, but yeah, like, listening to people, it's like you're not even saying anything I don't already know. Now, I can run into that problem even with my own streams. Like, I value your guys' wanting to stick around and listen to me for this afternoon, because it's like I want to say something unique that maybe you may have heard somewhere, but put in a different way, or maybe you haven't heard it at all. Um, and that's actually why I stopped, talk even to some extent. We talk about pop culture and stuff, but not on the level I used to, because things were even very different even from like 3 years ago. Speaking of which, no. Did you get oh, I was just gonna I just wanna say this. Did you guys hear? I saw an article, 'cause, the article, you gotta be careful about articles too, because if you start clicking on an article, then they'll scroll up different articles, but, of the same idea. So I'm like, I don't listen to Star Wars channels anymore, but if the article is short enough, I just wanna read what the shills are saying. And one such person, apparently the new, I didn't even know, because I'm not keeping up with Star Wars, but apparently there's another show on Disney Plus called Bad Batch season 3 or whatever, and the article was saying that that show is linking Grogu to the resurrection of Palpatine, and I was like, I just laughed. I was just, I hit the article, I just ha 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 ha. And apparently, like, I'm sure a lot of people are mad about that. People not believing that all things lead to the sequel trilogy. And if it's true, if Grogu, I guess his blood count, his midi-chlorian count was so valuable, um, valuable enough to create a clone or something. That's what the article said, and I found it funny. If I was really emotionally invested and hoping beyond hope that none of the new shows would point to the sequel trilogy, especially Mandalorian, right? I was like, sorry, guys. But then, of course, people are going to just say, you know what? The sequel trilogy is not that bad. Guys, give it 10 years. People are going to say, it was no worse than the prequels. And the prequels got a lot of flack for that. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about pop culture. Let's see. I don't want to skip anyone. Megatron says, mostly I'm just tired of listening to YouTubers complain about how bad Disney and Warner Brothers are. I've started becoming very selective of who I watch. Yeah. Prof would get complaints saying, well, you're complaining about Disney and stuff like that, but he comes from a more scholarly perspective. He actually, when he talks about Disney, he's not talking about the show or whatever show is happening, because he doesn't watch the shows. People do ask him, not as much as before, but people still ask him, like, hey, what do you think of the show? And it's like, have you not seen his channel in the last 4 years? Even the last year, he doesn't watch the shows. When he talks about Disney and complains about Disney, it's more like, are you Like, it's more of the culture. Like, are you guys paying attention? Not you, the proverbial you. Are you guys paying attention to what's happening? So, all right. Big Al presents says, yes, I go through phases, not necessarily boredom, just what intrigues me at the moment. I think, and I think spontaneity is important. We can kind of just get. I've used this phrase before, but we can drive into the doldrums if we're not careful. And I'm not saying be completely robust and spontaneous, but just kind of like it's like, do I need to watch this video or can I watch something else? You know. Andreas asks me, Sound engraver, you were a liberal arts student? I was. I have 3 music degrees. I was in the liberal arts community, college setting from, I think it was like 2008. Yeah, 2008 to 2014. Maybe a little bit longer if you're going to include community college, which I don't, but I sort of still knew liberal arts even in that setting. Yeah, I was in the higher education for 8 years. Yeah. I wanted to be a professor. I thought, well, at least I should be at least a community college instructor. And then I'm glad I'm glad they didn't accept me. I want to be a good professor. I want it. I need to listen to this video from one of my professors. Recently, the University of Washington uploaded a video of 3 major performers. Christina Valdez, Kung Vu. So Valdez is a pianist. Kung Vu is a trumpet professor. I think actually Valdez is also a professor. And then my composition professor, Huckleberry Hodge is his name. And I'm like, oh, he's performing a piece, and I listened to like the first 2.5 minutes, and I need to listen to it because I'm like, why from the little I heard of his piece, I'm like, why couldn't all of the contemporary experimental music sound like that? Like that was actually from what I heard, the little I heard was highly attractive. Highly attractive. All right. Let's I gotta grab a swig of water again. Amy L says YouTube changed its ads algorithm late last year. That's what made watching YouTube boring for me, at least. Okay, so I wonder if it's a general phenomenon because, like, I get things in my feed where I'm like, why YouTube would you think I'd be interested? Like, out of all the history you have archived of my general tastes, interesting. Andrea says, I've noticed some YouTube channels that upload almost every day use AI art for their thumbnails. Sad. I miss the days when more people used Photoshop because Photoshop art has a unique art to it. Now, I don't know the distinction. I mean, I know some people would compare Photoshop, the method of Photoshop, with AI art. I made a poll. I did a poll yesterday, I think, and I said, because it's true actually. Someone I heard said digital art is AI art. And I asked if that was true. To some people, I genuinely wanted to know the opinion. I wasn't going to get aggressive or anything. And then I added, is electronic music AI music? And I think I had like 30 votes the last time I saw it, and all said no. Thank goodness. Like so 30 people said no. Digital art is not AI art. Electronic music is not AI music. I'm like, okay. It was just the one person. I was like, what if this is a more common? Because if it's perpetuated enough, people are going to think, yeah, electronic music is AI music. Someone, I can't even remember, maybe someone in the chat, someone mentioned the method generative music. And so basically, generative music can be computer music. It could be just a system of knobs and controls and things just generating based on parameters. That's actually, you do that with SuperCollider, or you can. But you can do it with other computer music platforms like Max MSP and stuff like that, Pure Data. You could do that. So generative music is a thing, although I don't use SuperCollider for that. But also it could be an orchestral thing or a physical thing, like a group of singers. Chance music, John Cage with his he turned to I Ching, which is a Chinese philosophical idea, and he used that for his method of chance music predominantly. And so generative music is very close to AI. I would say it's not quite though, because the systems in place were still produced by humans. But if people want to say no, that's just AI music, I'm not going to fight them on that because it is generative music. It's output based on a system. So, but it's mostly, especially in the 60s and 70s, it was composers producing their systems and then having the output based on those systems. It was still a human thing. Anyway, let's continue on. Let's continue. Okay, wow. 7 o'clock. Wow, sheesh. Okay. Where am I? I used to think I was going to use AI art for thumbnails and uh, book covers. I just can't. The more I learned about AI, I was like, you know what? I need to hire an artist. They'll know what to do. And it's a digital artist. I do plan on, digital art for my book covers, but I just, it's important to me. I'm not saying people who use AI art for thumbnails do it. Like I'm not going to stop you. Like I use Canva. I mean, Canva, it's not AI, but it's images people put in Canva so I can pay a monthly fee to get all the access and stuff. So I know people. What I have noticed though, people are going to fight me on this. Most people who support AI art are not artists. And people say, whoa, 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 back up. How can you say that? Like, and one example, especially if they're within like the pop culture community, a huge supporter of AI art is Shad Brooks, who from Shadiversity, who writes novels. It's like, well, wait, how can you say that people who support AI art aren't artists? Shad is an artist, and he supports AI. He's a writer, and I haven't seen any of his videos for a long time, so I don't know if this is true, but I am guessing he does not use AI to generate anything written for the written word. He probably, I am assuming he uses AI strictly for visual art, for references and stuff, for world building. Because, I want like an artist who is an artist who can do something. Like if you're a painter, like a digital painter, even a painter, well, let's see. I want to meet an artist. If you know anyone out there on YouTube, I want to meet a digital artist who says, I support AI. In fact, I use AI for my digital art. I would want to meet them. I would want to talk to them. I mean, I wouldn't talk to them, but I would want to like know, like if they have a commentary video saying, yeah, I do digital art all the time. I've been a working professional for 15 years and I strongly support AI art. In fact, I use AI for my digital art. If that's the case, I want to know who you are. I will watch your videos because I'm genuinely curious. I might not talk to you. I'm such an introvert, but Anyway, continuing. All right, looks like you guys are talking amongst yourselves, which is awesome. So glad. All right, more talking to yourselves. All right. Let's see. Andreas says, sorry. Again, it's not my computer, so I'm not used to scrolling up or down. Andreas says, if I had a YouTube channel, I wouldn't want to upload every single day. No. I mean, even weekly is a lot, especially if you have a job and you're committed to your creative process after your job. Yeah. Even weekly is a lot. Even for the algorithm, I want my videos to be well made with craft and meant to last and not make poorly made videos. Now, just to stress on that, I would commend you to make well-produced videos for YouTube. But just remember, if you want to produce a work of art that is video form and you post on YouTube, it's not meant to be received like a work of art. It's meant to be received like commentary or consumption. You know, to be done with that video as soon as you're done with it, and then you go to the next video. That's what it's built for. That's the infrastructure of YouTube. If you want to produce a film, what I would do, if let's say that, let's work with that hypothetical. Like I would, if I was a craftsman, if I was highly skilled in something like film, I would produce it as a separate thing. And then I would maybe market it on YouTube, but I wouldn't show the whole thing. I would say, if you want this, if this appeals to you, check it out on my website. That's what artists should do. I think highly well done videos is important, even for something like commentary. Don't get lazy if you have the skills to do that. But again, I'll just say the effort I put into YouTube, as much as I like it as a platform, I like it. It's streaming is one of my favorite parts of the week. It's just not. It's not going to be the same level of effort I put into my actual music making or my writing. Nathaniel says, that was the quote from the animated film. Oh, The Iron Giant. Highly recommend that. Man, if I saw The Iron Giant, it was a long time ago. Yeah, but I've heard it's good. Yeah. 646. Okay, good. I'm catching up with the comments. It sounds like you're talking about curating the collection, getting rid of books and movies that you don't like or wouldn't watch again, keeping up with movies and books that you will treasure. Yeah, and it would be so nice if YouTube had the same thing with videos. You know, like promoting videos you would enjoy a second time. I'm not saying it has to, but I think people, I would advise, or I don't want to say advise, I would encourage people to view videos as if you could watch those videos again. I think that would just be a healthier thing altogether. You know how people are like scrolling? It used to be like clicking the remote, like click, cat with dog fighting, click, reality TV. I'm not interested. Click, cooking show. What they're making doesn't look that interesting to me. Click, gardening. I don't like gardening. Click. Now it's the same for like YouTube. Like scroll. No, none of these videos are interesting to me. I kind of have to be proactive and saying not interested, don't recommend channel, even though that's kind of exclusive. I don't want it in my feed. If I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to be interested in it. Spidey Rule says the neat trick I found that you can do on YouTube and Google, you search for the video you want to find and write before year, month, day, and after year, month, day. That sounds like a neat trick, but man, that seems like a lot of work for like what you just want to do. That's good though. I'm glad that's there. Samuel says, I usually make custom YouTube playlists for categories of videos I really liked. Yeah, I think that's really important. And actually, you said you liked, so I think that'd be kind of like a housekeeping thing for me. Like once I finish my playlists categorizing, going back to my old liked playlist and kind of, if I can compartmentalize, I'll do it. Because there are some videos I'm like, man, I haven't seen this video in a long time. I need it. And then I'm just like scrolling endlessly. And then of course, after a minute of scrolling, and then it goes so fast and you miss it. And yeah. Anyway. This will help you, says Spider Rules. Find old videos that are being drowned out by recent videos. You also put quotation marks to certain words or sentences you want to emphasize in the search. Yes, quotation marks does make sense. Samuel says, for 5 years, you've been putting together a YouTube playlist for Star Wars videos you really like. I hope I'm among those videos on the playlist because I had really good content on Star Wars. Like the history of Star Wars from its first release. Oh, like the important stuff. Actually, that's if you have any trouble. Okay, let me say this: if you have any trouble distinguishing art from content, I read a Star Wars comic a couple nights ago. The comic is the art. Any feedback or analysis I have on the comic, talking about the comic, that's the content. Easy enough, right? All right. Oh, I thought I was done with the chat. Not yet. Amy says YouTube is designed to making commenting difficult. That is true too. My sister wants to kind of embark on the YouTube journey, and she said all my comments keep disappearing. And I'm like, dang. And by the way, I've said that to you guys on my videos before. Sometimes I'll see your comment because it's notified, and then I'll try to respond, and then your comment disappears. It hasn't happened in a while, but that was a main problem. I don't know why. It's so annoying. It's like, why do comments disappear? Andrea says Republic Commando is better than the Bad Batch. It's available to play on Switch. If you want a team of clone commandos to care about, play that game. That's cool. I had a nice time too with the Book of Legions. I felt like they could have been their own thing too. The Hand of Judgment. Yeah, that was a fun read. The only thing I liked about Disney Star Wars was the droid K2SO. That was from Rogue One. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I remember that film. Megatron is like, you're saying you're starting to become an art professor for my nieces, for your nieces. Continue to start changing my brother and sister in law pretty soon. Well, that's good. I don't know what the Trump sad meme is. My professor would know. My husband would know because he likes memes. Andrea says, "What is liberal art? Liberal arts anyway? Is liberal arts the reason people joke about college? One reason. Liberal arts is just effectively the college setting where it has all the art departments. You know, film, drama, music, art, visual art, and all that. Anything else? Drama, music, film, art. I feel like I'm missing another one. Dance. So those are under the liberal arts degrees. My tassel color was pink, which was great because it was perfect. It framed my cheekbone and my blush just perfectly. But that was the tassel color for graduation. Ghost Planet, good to see you. You love composers like Danny Elfman, John Williams, and you love art like Alex Ross, Bob Ross. Yeah, I agree. And country, classical rock music and country music and classical music. All good. But I like good country music. I don't listen to a lot of my students are girls, and a lot of them are in kind of that age demographic that like they love Taylor Swift. And one of my students is learning a Taylor Swift song for her orchestra class. And I hadn't seen the song before because I don't listen to Taylor Swift, so I really don't know what she sounds like. And I said, okay, this is probably the introduction, right? And this is where the melody, the first verse starts, right? And she's like, yeah. And then so I started singing the melody because I had ear training in college. I've always And I have perfect pitch even though I feel like it's going out as I get older. But, even if I didn't have perfect pitch, I can play the note on the violin and then start from that. And she was so funny, like, she didn't mean to be funny, but she said, "It's kind of amazing that you can hum out that melody and rhythm having never heard that song before." Now, I have ear training, but at the same time too, bless her, Taylor Swift, at least that song, I guess it's a new song, I don't even know, I can't keep track, but man, oh man, the melody is the same. It's the same. It's the same melody I've heard everywhere. It's not unique to Taylor Swift. Those chords in that melodic line is not unique to Taylor Swift. I've heard that a million times in pop music in the grocery store. Going to Walmart, picking out a shirt, getting a candy bar and leaving. It's like, I've heard this so many times. It's not Taylor Swift. I didn't say that to her because she loves Taylor Swift, but I was like, I know how this melody is supposed to go. You don't even need to hear the song to know how it's supposed to go. It'd be kind of a fun game to have never heard a song before, like, be in a room, listen to the first 4 bars, and then just know what happens after that. Because chances are, I think I would know. Maybe. Samuel says, Shad can draw. He just doesn't want to carve out his busy schedule to grow his skills. He pays my, yeah, that's true. He does pay. That's good. I hope he continues paying. Yeah. Yeah. He paid Mike Miller for his first graphic novel. And I think he has a second one coming out. That time thing is his excuse he makes. Well, when I was watching him, he had 2 major channels. And yeah, he has a team of people. I don't know how big a team, but he has a group of people, like a small group of people that helps him with that, but here's the bottom line. Here's the 717, okay. Here's the thing, and people have to accept this. This is where the culture's going, and so you have to accept it. And that is, just accept you're a YouTuber more than you're an artist. And by that I mean if you're only on YouTube, you can be an artist. I'm not saying like you take away the title, you still are a skilled artist and stuff like that. But if you're trying to promote your art on YouTube, but only have time for YouTube, just accept that's your vocation. Just say, I'm a YouTuber. Yeah, I'm an artist, but I'm a YouTuber. And maybe that's fair. I mean, that's how you get your money. Awesome. That's how you support your family, even better. But I, in a way, kind of when I was watching Shadiversity, um, I liked his channel a lot. I don't watch his channel as much. Maybe I watch his maybe once in a while. I'll go to his like weaponry channel and his weapon videos. Just I'm not into medieval myself, but it's fun to watch. It's fun to experiment with and see what they're doing. But those videos just I know take hours to make. And that's a lot. And it's not even really that evergreen because it's not like they are following a trend with weaponry and stuff, but it's still kind of fixed in that time that they make it. So, but I have heard him, really complain about YouTube's algorithm, how he's like on a hamster wheel with all his friends saying it takes forever to make this. And like I hope he has enough financial investment where he really can take a step back and just write. That's it. Yeah, same Samuel Proctor. If I do see Shad, I'll watch the weaponry stuff. We are on completely opposite sides when it comes to AI art, though. And that's okay. That's what different channels are for. Andrea says, gotta keep catching up with the comments so I can go. I passed the 90-minute mark. I gotta get better at that, guys. Digital art is like a different artist with a different set of tools. While with digital art, there is still a real person, an artist creating something. AI art is made by a machine. Yeah, a lot of people who support AI art, they're not I'm not going to really talk about it too much because I'd actually like to invest my emotional energy into something like a book. Like actually, if I do talk about it, I need to put it in a blog form or something, and I don't have the time yet to do that. But I'm not going to make videos on it. But a lot of people who claim AI art is the way to go, they say, well, it's just a tool like your digital art platform is a tool or your music platform is a tool. And it's not. The computer is making the art. Because, it's like when I was told that like, well, no, you work in Logic Pro. That's AI art effectively. It's like I'm the composer. I work in Logic Pro to produce electronic music. Much in the same way like a composer composes a symphony with the orchestra players. It's a medium and it's a set of tools. But I still compose the music. Whether I compose a symphony whether I compose a symphony of orchestra players, a symphony for an orchestra to play, or electronic music in that digital space, but it's still me composing the music. That's the whole point. If I just said AI music platform such and such, write out for me a techno piece. Use these chords. Use this amount of measures or beats. And then that's all I did. And then like, oh, you come up with your own instruments. Or maybe I'll be fruitful with it. Maybe I'll say, have a drum kit, have a bass line, have a horn section, and then have some ambient strings. But you make it up, AI music. Well, if it generates that music within those parameters, I told it like the instrumentation and then how many measures it has. And that I want it to be like a techno style. But I didn't compose the music. It came up with it on its own. Anyway, that's should be so easy. It should be so easy. Yeah, Samuel Proctor, I heard that term recently. It's called doom scrolling. I don't struggle with that actually. Because I don't have social media besides YouTube, and I don't spend if it takes me longer than a minute, if it takes me longer than a minute or two to find a video, I leave. I don't watch a video. I think of something else to do. I go to the audiobook or something like that. I have to know what video I want to watch within like a minute. And if I can't find it, then I'm going to do something else. And it's not a short attention span. I just actually don't want to waste time browsing, And it keeps me spontaneous with my content as well. All right, let's continue. Andrea says, YouTube, you do think it has a feature, it can make separate custom playlists. Yes. Yeah, it does. It can. I should use that. Excuse me. All right, let's continue on down. Your videos are more in the Clone Wars and Disney era of the playlist, and the props videos are spread out all over. Well, yeah, because probably his book studies. Yeah. Private Eyes. Good to see you. Battlefront Classic is coming to all platforms. I can't wait to finally have the full experience. I never played Battlefront. As far as art goes, I'm still trying to be a comics artist, but man, it's so hard to get myself to make at least one exercises per day. I keep not doing it for like 2 to 3 days, but I keep trying. Yeah, I tell my students, give me 5 minutes of practice every day, just 5. I just need you to hold your instrument and play something for 5 minutes because they'll go a whole week not getting better. But they think, 5 minutes, I can do 5 minutes. I'm like, just give me 5 minutes. And then when you get better at that, give me 10 minutes. Yeah. Anyway. Spidey Rule says, a modern pop song sounds like every other modern pop song. Say it ain't so. It's true. My eyes are kind of getting watery. I think the lighting, there's a lot of light going on. So if I look sleepy, I'm not sleepy, but I think my eyes are droopy because there's a light there and there's a light there. And oh, I think it might be the brightness of the computer too. Andreas says, I think this is wonderfully put on Shadiversity. He's a reminder of how we have friends we can agree with on a lot of things, but also disagree on a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, he's a likable guy. I think I wouldn't be surprised in real life if he has a lot of different friends, because he's very chummy, he's very likable, and all that. Let's see. Okay, I think that's everything. I think I caught up with chat, but even so, even if I didn't catch up with chat, it was fun, but it's almost 7:30. So I probably should head out anyway. But anyway, that was fun talking about art, talking about the difference between art and content. Let's just kind of have that nice distinction before we wrap it up. Art is something that inspires the person, and content can. So what's the difference? I won't say the quick and easy definition for art, but it's a piece of work. It's a piece of craftsmanship that inspires. It's a representation of reality that inspires, that evokes an emotion, a message, but that is distinctly artistic, distinctly something that takes a lot of skill to produce. We all, in our own ways, have a different way of expressing what art is. And art is something, as an artist, you work to producing, you want to work to produce something that someone can recall or return to because it's so inspirational. It waters the soul, it edifies the human spirit and the experience. Content is good, but it's a completely different function. It can inspire, it can communicate to you, but we observe it differently in our mode of thinking, our mode of working, our mode of having our day, however mundane. It's a different thing than art. And so I did want to make that distinction. I hope to have a SuperCollider video this week. I've had crazy audio issues and computer issues. I feel like all of my devices just don't want me to make SuperCollider content, but I think I can, and I have something to share. But anyway, what am I going to say? That's all. I think that's everything I wanted to say. But anyway, so I hope to have content, but if I don't, it's either a technical issue or I spent my time making art and reviewing art and stuff like that. So anyway, I will leave it there. Oh, Amy just said, how do you practice just 5 minutes a day, though? Just going through the warm-up exercises takes more than 5 minutes. I wish the same were true with my students. I'll definitely end it there. But all right, until I see you next, thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will catch you later.